Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode here on Eat Sleep Reef, and this week we're going to be covering a pretty important video. It may not be important now, but I bet you if you ever come across this issue, it's going to be a really important video. So what we're going to be talking about is how to repair a tank that's full of water, strikes a leak out of nowhere, how to get it done. As you guys may or may not be aware, a lot of you would assume just to fill it with, let's say we had a crack here. A lot of you would assume, oh, just put silicone inside and you'll be fine. Well, yeah, but the only problem is silicone will not dry on top of silicone. So in other words, it's never gonna fully cure and more importantly, never bond to the silicone. So what you would have to do to make a repair, you'd have to scrape off all the silicone to then be able to make the seal. So then a lot of you guys are asking yourself, so how in the heck can I fix it? I'm not about to tear down the whole tank, wait a day or 2 days to scrape it, and then obviously have to repair it. So obviously if you have corals, you have fish, it's gonna be very difficult for you to empty the tank, relocate all the live rock. Hopefully you don't have bacteria dying and on the rock and just a big hot mess. You really start to say, what options do I have? Obviously duct tape, won't work too well. Just the pressure of the water will eventually start leaking out. So you have very few options. Well, you guys are probably saying, why in the heck are you even covering this? Well, this week, about 2 days ago, Innappropriate Reefer posted on his, it was super late, it was probably 3 o'clock his time, but I was still on Instagram, and he posted a video asking people and wondering what he can do because his tank just started leaking. It was roughly, obviously he doesn't have this tank, but it was about this front corner. It was about midway down in the tank. And he posted a video and said, guys, I need help. I need to figure out what to do.
Well, actually, high-key emergency. I actually filmed this just so I got this on record. Tank's leaking. Tank is leaking. It started raining, and I checked out the pipe. Everything's good. But if you look here, it's all wet, and the carpet's slowly getting wet. And I'm not sure if you can see it here. See the water coming through? It started, it's like it's kind of slow leak. So it's actually right here, at this silicone spot right here. And I was doing a test. I wiped it dry, and it looks like it just this one spot right here that water's coming through. If I dry it immediately, it gets wet again. So I'm trying to find a way. What's the best way to kind of seal this? Could I just use like a regular caulking silicone to seal it temporarily, or just we're about to just duct tape it? I know there's like a tape that can get slapped on and it'll be like watertight. Maybe I'll grab that real quick. I don't know, man. Right now, I'm just kind of taking it off. Hey, guys, it's been an insane night so far. Right now, it's about 4 a.m. We just did a Walmart run to buy some stuff because the 45-gallon tank sprung a leak right here at the silicone. So I've drained the tank down to that point. I have two options. Number one is to rip out the old silicone, at least up to that point, and seal it with the new one. And I have the silicone right here ready to go. However, before doing this, I figured I'll try something else that Antonio, Eat Sleep Reef, suggested. That is crazy enough that it may work. So that is to apply layers of super glue liquids with baking soda and just kind of keep layering them until it's supposedly is a really strong bond, and it's a popular method to fixing things in our seaplane world. I have no idea, but it sounds crazy, and just looking at it, it seems like it may actually work. So I'll try that first, because if I do it this way, I do not need to leave the tank 24 hours dry for the silicone to cure, and that means I don't have to break off the SPS coral. So we'll test it out. If it holds water, great. If not, hey, back to silicone.
He quickly figured out through the comments that silicone obviously wasn't going to work, and I also let him know silicone's not going to work. So he had very few options. Not having another tank running, he risked potentially losing everything because of this leak. So it was going to be pretty catastrophic. I actually have used this method, baking soda. You're probably saying, what the hell is a baking soda sitting here for? Well, I do RC planes, RC jets. That involves a lot of building, a lot of figuring out what you need to do. There's a lot of time no manuals for us to follow. You just got to figure out, your own way. So in that industry, I've used super glue and fiberglass, fine little particles, literally dust particles of fiberglass to create a composite that is stronger than a lot of things out there. And another method I used before I obviously came apart small milled pieces of fiberglass, before that was baking soda. So in that industry, a lot of us, when we're repairing a wood or trying to reinforce something, we'll put a bead of glue, or you'll put a bead of baking soda, just sprinkle it on, and then apply a few drops of super glue, and that's it. Guys, if you don't believe me, try doing this experiment, obviously not on a tank, but try like on a piece of wood, and then get a hammer to it and bang it. You'll see that the bond that the baking soda and the super glue is literally close to indestructible. It's just a really strong composite bond. The glue helps the particles, the dust of the baking soda adhere really well, holds them hard as a rock, really. And it's really hard to mess up. Now, one very important factor is when you're using super glue, it must be a thin to medium super glue. If it's thin, even better. You're probably saying, how do I know if it's thin or medium? The thinner the glue, the more it's like water. Obviously, if it's too thick, like the gel glue we use for our corals, that's also super glue, but that's way too thick. It probably wouldn't work as good because it wouldn't seep in to the baking soda. So you gotta make sure that the glue you're using is almost like water. And that's gonna ensure that you do have the correct piece of glue. On that note as well, I had never done it on a tank. I had never had a tank that leaked on me, knock on wood, but Innappropriate, I saw him with that issue, and I knew he wasn't gonna be having a good day because silicone's not gonna work, tape's not gonna work. And a thought just came in my head and said, why not baking soda? It's a really solid surface. I'm pretty sure it's gonna adhere really well. If he layers it, it should work. So I messaged him, I said, hey bro, try baking soda and super glue. He's like, what the hell are you talking about? I said, bro, just trust me. Try baking soda and super glue, but you have to make sure the super glue is really thin. So sure enough, he ran to the store, he got it. Long story short, you guys check them out on Instagram. It saved his tank. I believe he lost a few corals, you know, the whole time the water level was down, but all in all, it's pretty good. So if you do encounter, let's say, a leak in the tank, you don't have to drain the tank, but if you can drain the tank past where it's leaking from, it'll make it a little bit easier. If not, it'll be a little bit more difficult, but you can still do it. I'd recommend draining the tank. This repair will literally take you a few seconds to do. So it's not like the tank's gonna be without water for very much time. So the only other thing you are gonna need to make this work is going to be super glue that I'm showing you again. You wanna make sure it's about water consistency. That'll ensure that it's thin, super glue. And obviously you're gonna need a busted up tank. So Moto Aquariums was nice enough to donate this aquarium. It's not busted, and I'm not about to bust it because it's a beautiful tank. What I am gonna do to show you guys how to do this is I'm gonna demonstrate it on the bottom pane of the glass. I'm probably gonna have a foam piece on the bottom, so it's not gonna matter that it's a little bit uneven. But again, this is just gonna be for video purposes sake, so you get an idea of how to do it. So here I have the super glue. You can see here it's rated super thin. Again, doesn't matter what brand you get. If you go to Home Depot or Walmart, you'll see Loctite has a brand. I think it's called Liquid, but you can see it's literally a water. Look at that, it's a water consistency. It's super thin. And these are the only two things you are gonna need for this repair. It's obviously gonna be your baking soda, and it's gonna be your super glue. Ideally, the easiest way to do this repair would be getting the tank, flipping it face down so you can obviously work on a leveled surface. But what we're gonna do here to simulate a running tank, assuming it develops a leak, is we're gonna pretty much simulate it as if this tank was running. So let's assume this tank, this was the dimensions of it, and let's assume it started a leak here. So what I'm gonna do right now here is show you how to repair it very easily, and at least a repair that'll buy you some time to get another tank started, to either put them in or get the upgrade started, or whatever the case is. I think in our scenario, it was really good that this happened to Innappropriate because it made him, it forced him to get his 150 gallon ready that we've all been waiting for. But again, bro, I'm very happy I was able to help him, so I'm hoping this will also help you guys. It won't be a bad idea to get a small container for your baking soda, so you can obviously reach in here and kind of sprinkle it on. Now, really the only difficult thing, if you've ever used the super thin CA like this, it runs like water. It's very hard to keep in one area, especially when the tank is standing like this. So we're gonna have to be very careful on the bead we put. Obviously, when you're doing a repair on a busted tank, you're not gonna care how neat it is. I'm only being this crazy because I'm actually gonna be using this tank. You know, if you're at home doing this repair, you probably won't care that it runs all the way down. Because again, what's more important to you is saving your fish and corals, just to buy you some time. So yeah, obviously if I sprinkled baking soda on here right now, it's not gonna stick, it's just glass, so it's kind of gonna run off. We're gonna try to see if we can sprinkle it and see how it adheres. If it needs a bead of glue first so it grabs on, great, but again, this is my first time doing it on a glass aquarium. So whatever trick I come up with, I'm gonna let you guys know what works best. We're gonna just pretend that there was a leak here on the seam. So what I'm gonna try to do, oh, there we go. It actually does hold. So if you look, if I put some in my finger, you see that? I don't know if you guys are able to see it on camera. I'm kind of using my finger. Okay. So once I'm kind of happy with that, what I can do, clean off any excess on the side, because again, we're only trying to really make the repair there. And you come in with your glue, and again, be very careful how much you put, because this stuff again runs like water, and it doesn't take a lot. You'll see as soon as the baking soda absorbs it. There it is. Look at that. As the baking soda grabs it, you're going to notice it turns really clear. There it is. Wow. You see it right there? So we come in with a tiny little drop. You don't need, you see that? It made it almost instantly clear as soon as it touched. So then you come back in again with more. And this time we're actually going to try and get some on this side. Another thing the baking soda does, it almost instantly dries it. There we go. You can see here kind of how it's built it up. It's actually super strong. So what I would suggest is you build it up as high as you can. That'll just ensure a really good bond. And again, you kind of just grab it like this with your finger and just put it on top. And you're going to see as soon as the glue makes contact with it, it almost, look at that, dries clear almost instantly. And again, just put some in your finger. And you can run that bead up and down. And that should be pretty good. Now this here, you can build it up as high as you want, really. It really won't take that many layers because again, I know how strong this stuff is. You could literally, don't test it out on a tank, but you can test it on a workbench and get a hammer to it. And you're gonna be super amazed at the composite bond that the super glue and the baking soda made with this. It's literally almost indestructible. So once you're happy with it, you're pretty much done. Again, if it's a bigger gap, try and work in small little sections, but assuming this was that big, you'd obviously do the whole piece. If it's smaller, bigger, whatever the case is, you can rest assured that it's gonna hold up. You know, I don't know for how long, but it's gonna hold up enough time to allow you to set up another tank or get a new tank ready or whatever the case is. A rule of thumb though, this is baking soda, guys. I don't know if you guys are aware, but baking soda is prime, if not in most cases, the main ingredient that we use in our supplements for alkalinity. So you can actually use baking soda if you want to raise your alkalinity. That's actually what they used to use back in the day. Was very simple. Baking soda, you'd put it in and that's how you would raise your alk. So just be careful if you're using it. Try and not get it inside the tank. If a little bit gets in, it's not a big deal, but the less you get in the tank, the better. Why? Because again, it is baking soda, so it will raise your alkalinity. And this, guys, it's not only good for a repair here on the tank. If you have a piece of plastic, let's say on your skimmer, they cracked off, same method on there. Whatever issue you have, is even if it's an acrylic sump or whatever issue you have in this tank, you know, if it's a plastic piece, whatever piece, you'll be able to repair it using this method. Aside from that, guys, I think we pretty much covered everything. You guys got to see here how we repaired it. It was my first time doing it on a glass aquarium, but surprisingly it was very easy. I was expecting a little bit more difficult, but luckily it was very straightforward. I hope you guys got a quick tip out of this. I know it's going to be a lifesaver. Maybe not now. You're probably going to watch this video and say, ah, no big deal. It's only going to matter to you when you actually have an issue with the cracked aquarium. So just be sure, save it. You know, if you ever got a buddy that has an issue, send him this video or just kind of let him know what he needs so he's able to repair it. But that's going to be it, guys. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please leave a comment down below on what you thought. Maybe you've used this, or maybe you have suggestions on how to make it better. Again, I've never used it on a glass aquarium. Innappropriate reefer was the first one I recommended to use it, and it worked great, so I figure let's make a video to share it with all of you. But that's going to be it, guys. Again, thank you very much. If I earned your subscription, please be sure to subscribe. I thank you very much for watching. As always, happy reefing.